How do you grow long hair, and why is my hair not growing? I've been wanting to do this video for a long time. I've had this list for over a year, and I'm finally sitting down to talk to you about something that's really important to me. So if you are interested in learning more, please stay tuned. Before I even begin this list, I want us to establish the difference between length retention and hair growth. Length retention is the amount of hair that grows from your scalp a month, a week, every single day. That is natural. That is determined most often by genetics. Yeah, there are some things that you can do, such as hair vitamins and maybe having a more balanced diet, but by and large, hair growth is determined by genetics for the most part. So that's the level, that's the amount of hair that grows from your scalp. A month, a day, a week, as I said. While retention, or length retention rather, is the amount of length you're able to retain. Just as the name suggests, the amount of hair that you are able to retain per a given year, a given month, a given quarter, etc. So hair growth happens regardless. Only if you are like sick with some type of terminal illness, you are like messed up within your body, that's the only way you will not grow your hair. So people say, oh, my hair don't grow no more. No, your hair is growing. What you're not doing is retaining length. When you wear protective styles such as braids, your hair ain't growing faster. Your hair is retaining more length because you're not manipulating it. Does that make sense? I hope it does. So now let's go into this list. How can you get your hair to grow? But really, actually, how can you get your hair to retain length? And that's actually pretty simple once you begin to know your hair. So first of all, your hair ain't growing because you don't understand porosity. Porosity, as I've established before on my channel, is the likelihood, the tendency of your hair to absorb water. If you are low porosity, your cuticles lay closed, allowing moisture not to get in very easily. If you're medium porosity, it lays kind of midway, allowing moisture to go in and out, definitely somewhere in the middle. High porosity, your cuticles lay open, not allowing moisture to get in very easily, but also allowing moisture to get out very easily, unless it's sealed with the oil or a butter. I can do a more specific video on porosity, but I've discussed porosity numerous times on my channel. It is very important. How is your hair absorbing water? If you want to figure out how to test your porosity, I will be doing a video separately on porosity at a later time. So if you're interested, definitely thumbs up. Number two, you don't understand your hair properties. And that feeds into porosity, but also something aside from porosity, which is strand thickness and density. Strand thickness is the thickness of your strands on your head. I personally have very fine strands, and a lot of us do too. And if we have fine strands, you have to be more careful with your hair. And that's why strand thickness is very important, because you just can't be tugging and pulling at your hair if you have fine strands. That junk will break, and I know that from personal experience. There's also medium strand thickness, which is like normal thickness, and then there's very coarse, referring to the thickness. Coarse doesn't mean kinky. Coarse refers to the thickness of your strands. And also density. You can have a low density, meaning you don't have a lot of hair. You can have medium density, somewhere in the middle, or you can have very high density. Think of the natural 85s and the Shari J's of the world. They have very high density. Take into consideration your strand thickness in particular is very important, because you have to baby your hair if you have fine strands. Some people don't gotta do much to care for their hair and they can retain length. That isn't true for people with more fine strands or also medium-sized strands. Number three, you're following someone else's regimen. Just because homegirl is deep conditioning on dry hair doesn't mean that it's gonna work for you. Just because he or she is moisturizing their hair right out of the shower doesn't mean that's going to work for you. I followed people's regimen for years. A year or two into my journey, I was following Natural 85, I was following Janelle of Black is Beautiful, and I was following their regimens, and I couldn't understand why my hair wasn't soft. Like now if you touch my hair is soft because I understand my hair's properties. I understand what works well for my hair. You have to figure out your regimen based on your porosity, strength, thickness, density. You have to figure it out, and that really only takes trial and error. Some people message me wanting to know, hey, what regimen can I use to moisturize my hair? It really depends on the person. It depends on genetics. It depends on your diet. It depends on the products that you're using, but products less so. It has a lot to do with how your hair actually grows from your scalp. So definitely following someone else's regimen can be a hot mess, and I've been there. Number 4, you are obsessed with trimming, or you are hanging on to some ratchet dead ends. And I have been on both sides of the spectrum. If you are over trimming your hair, there is no way in hell that your hair is going to retain length. Hair grows on average half an inch a month. If you are trimming a half an inch a month, you are never going to retain length. You are literally stopping your hair from looking like it's growing. You're not going to retain any length at all. But at the same time, if you are holding on to raggedy ends, you are also not going to retain length. If you have 10 inches of beautiful, healthy hair and 2 inches of ratchet ends, and you let those things hang on to those other 10 inches, guess what? Over time, it's going to become 8 inches, 7 inches, 6 inches, because those split ends are going to move up the shaft. Your hair is going to break when you manipulate it, such as washing it, something simple as washing it, styling it, doing a twist out, doing a braid out. Your hair is going to break off. So you don't want to hold on to ratchet ends. I have been there. Number 5, you think heat is your best friend. Heat is a distant cousin, but heat is not your best friend. If you're using heat multiple times in your regimen, it's a no-no. When I first went natural, I would use heat a lot. I would use heat about every 2 weeks to blow out my hair, and I wondered why my hair was so dry. I wondered why I always had to trim it because the ends were so natty and just gross and just ugh, because I was using too much heat. There's nothing wrong with heat. I'm a proponent of using heat, but you also have to be very careful of what you are doing. If you are using direct heat, be it a blow dryer or a flat iron, you need to keep that down to at least once a month. I would even urge you to do it once every 2 months, every 3 months. You can use indirect heat. There's nothing wrong with using your hooded dryer, but you also don't want to abuse that either. Using too much heat will damage your hair, point blank period. Number 6, and this is something that people don't always think about, is hair tools. I have stopped using hair tools. I hardly ever use hair tools. My only tools are my fingers. Hair tools can break your hair. I've seen the difference in my crown. I've seen the difference in my length retention when I stopped using hair tools. And remember, I have fine strands. Therefore, I have to be very careful. If you have thicker strands, you may be able to get away with using hair tools. But for me, even a wide tooth comb, even a Denman that has, only 4 rows or so breaks my hair. I have very fragile hair, so I have to cut out hair tools, and you may have to as well. Number 7, your products are destroying your hair. I'm an advocate, I'm a proponent that products don't grow your hair. They don't, but products do help you retain length. If you are using products that don't mesh well with your hair, you are going to damage your hair. If you're using a product that has a lot of glycerin in your hair, haze glycerin, that may mess up your hair. If you're using products with a lot of aloe and you have sensitivity to like aloe or shea butter, you're going to mess up your hair. Your hair may not retain length as well. Number 8, you are obsessed with the perfect curl. You are obsessed with the perfect curl. Therefore, you are over manipulating your hair. You need to do what works best for you, but chasing this perfect curl, being afraid of frizz, the way our afro textured hair naturally frizzes, will make you not retain length. You can't get the perfect curl. If your hair is frizzy, don't feel the need to have to manipulate your hair into oblivion. That's just going to screw you up in the end. Number 9, you don't understand moisture and protein balance. Moisture and protein balance is probably the one most important thing that I have learned that's really helped me to retain my length. So you definitely want to balance your moisture and protein. Our hair is made of something that's called keratin. It's a major building block of our hair. So you definitely want to get that protein in, but as well as balancing the moisture. What I do, I alternate between a protein treatment and a deep conditioner weekly or every few days, depending on how often I DC, and that works really well for me. Some people may find that they may be protein sensitive, therefore protein may make their hair feel hard and brittle. You therefore may want to just do a protein treatment, a light protein treatment, once a month, once every 2 months, once every 3 months. Again, it's trial and error. I can't give you a specific schedule. You have to know what works best for you. That's just it. And if someone tells you this junk is easy, they lying. And number 10, you're overthinking it. If you are so obsessed about retaining length, about hair growth, you won't see it. We get so obsessed with wanting long hair, and I am very guilty of this because everyone knows I want obnoxiously long hair that makes people uncomfortable. That is my goal. But I have thought too much about it in the past. I would pull on my hair, I'd be pulling and stretching, and ooh, is it longer than it was 2 days ago? Like, I was really obsessed with growing my hair long. And now that I have a lot of length, it's kind of like, oh, my hair is looking good, it's doing its thing. But you don't want to overthink it. I wish you well on your journey. I wish you all the hair growth and length attention in the world. Good luck on your journey. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below, and I will talk to you guys later. Love you. Bye.
Come over a little closer. I wanna tell you something.